Tens of thousands of people have attended the Right to Water demonstration on Dublin's O'Connell Street. Two separate groups marched from Euston and Connolly train stations before converging on the GPO, where speakers from politics and trade unions addressed the crowd, calling for the abolition of water charges. There was a large Garda presence, but the protest passed off peacefully.
Demonstrators began arriving from lunchtime.
The water charges, the homelessness, the government, everything that's going on that's wrong with the country. People are sick of it at this stage, so that's why I'm here.
Would you be paying your water bill yourself? Have you
Absolutely not.
Came up from Gotahog, up in the Donegal Guildford. We left this morning about 7:15, and we hired a bus. We can pick people up from Annaghey right around the west coast.
Tens of thousands from all over the country here to remind the government of their continued opposition to water charges.
I don't trust the government. I don't believe that they actually have the people's interests at heart, and I'm standing for myself and my children.
Now they want me to pay another bill, and I'm not doing it. They can do what they like, and we'll give them their answer in the next election.
People young and old and from different walks of life were out demonstrating.
Why should you pay twice for your water? There's enough social problems in this country. People really need to get out on the streets and support this march.
Enough is enough. People are barely surviving.
Two groups marched from Connolly and Euston stations and converged on O'Connell Street for a rally.
This was sorely needed. We needed to put the fire back into our bellies to take on this government and absolutely defeat these water charges.
The Right to Water campaign says the tens of thousands of people who came out here to protest today are not just opposed to water charges, but are also calling for change in a number of other areas. And that's something politicians will be watching, and this campaign will hope to capitalise on ahead of the next general election.
What we're going to do is talk to people about the policies that they want implemented, not the policies that they're being dictated to by a government, an arrogant government. So we're going to go across the country, have a discussion with that, and we're going to see what can develop from that.
A spokesperson for the government said it respected people's right to protest, but said the government was committed to correcting years of underinvestment in the water networks so people could depend on a clean, reliable water supply. Right to Water says it will continue its campaign until water charges are abolished. Sinead Morris, RTE News, Dublin.
Well, for more on this, our political correspondent David Davenpower joins me now. David, clearly the issue of water charges hasn't gone away.
Angus, today's demonstration a reminder and a confirmation, not that that was needed, that this will now be a significant election issue. Now, since the summer, of course, ministers have two problems on their hands in relation to Irish water. One is the anger and resentment that we saw on the streets of Dublin this afternoon. The other, potentially more serious, because even were the coalition to be returned, that problem would still be there after the election, is that Eurostat has ruled at the beginning of the summer that it cannot remain off the state balance sheet. It cannot be a semi-state body, and that's a huge problem if Irish Water is to raise the hundreds of millions needed to fix our water supply. So two things are needed from a political perspective. One, something to throw the electorate in the election campaign to come in relation to Irish Water, and the other thing that's needed is some kind of remedy so that Irish Water can move off the state balance sheet if it's to remain in its current form. One final thought, Angus, with less than half of the people billed paying their Irish water bills, and significant concerns now about the constitution of the utility. For those who, for whatever reason, are putting off paying their bills, there seem to be fewer and fewer persuasive reasons to cough up.
David, thank you.